There have been further twists and turns in the controversy that cost the RNZ head of news, Carol Hirschfeld, her job. The CEO and board chairman fronted up in Parliament this morning to apologise for misleading MPs last month over a meeting between Ms Hirschfeld and Broadcasting Minister Claire Curran. RNZ has been asked to hand over all communications between the former news boss and the minister, as well as a voicemail the minister left on the phone of RNZ's chair, Richard Griffin. Ms Curran has also been accused of interference after Mr Griffin's account of a phone call he received from the minister's office. Our political editor, Jane Patterson, filed this report.
The RNZ board chair, Richard Griffin, told MPs it was acutely embarrassing to have to come back and correct the record. He and the CEO told the committee last month the meeting in December between the then head of news, Carol Hirschfeld, and Claire Curran was a chance encounter. It later emerged Ms Hirschfeld had lied to her boss and the meeting had been pre-planned.
I'm devastated that an attempt to cover up a prosaic meeting, and it was a prosaic meeting, in a Wellington cafe has resulted in the loss to RNZ of a valued and talented executive, damage to the RNZ's relationship with this new government at a critical time in the company's evolution.
CEO Paul Thompson sincerely apologised.
She gave me repeated assurances that the meeting was coincidental, that they had bumped into each other in the cafe and had talked. I questioned her on that intently, and I trusted her word.
The National MP Melissa Lee wanted to know about a phone call Mr Griffin received from the minister's office the day after he had received a tip-off there was a problem with the version of events he had given to the committee. It was during that call it was confirmed to Mr Griffin he and the CEO had misled the committee.
I had a call from a minister's staff officer to advise me that the minister was facing 3 questions in the House that afternoon, that it was possible that those 3 questions would impinge on the meeting of December 5. The staff's attitude was, we will handle this appropriately, but we'd like you basically to stay out of it. I was gobsmacked, quite honestly, given that the information I'd received the day before I was taking with a grain of salt.
In a statement, the minister's office said she was assured her staff did not say they expected there would be no comment from RNZ, or that Richard Griffin was told the minister's office would, like RNZ, to stay out of it. But Melissa Lee says if Mr Griffin's account is true, that's interference.
I think it would be inappropriate for a minister to be interfering in that. The thing is, this government is championing open government, and when there are questions asked, they should be forthcoming with the answers, and this minister hasn't done so.
Richard Griffin also came under pressure from Labour MPs about his decision to give Melissa Lee a heads up about Ms Hirschfeld's resignation minutes before it was made public on Tuesday last week. Mr Griffin said it was a matter of courtesy.
Which may be foreign to some in politics. I'm sorry, that's unnecessary.
Well, courtesy.
As a matter of courtesy, it was important. I felt we should contact the MP in the committee who was responsible for asking the questions, an advisor that would have to come back and explain ourselves.
There's courtesy and then there's collusion, and what I'm wanting to know is what are your rules and procedures at RNZ in terms of colluding with an opposition MP on employment or political matters?
Point of order.
That's a ridiculous question, with due respect.
The National MP Paul Goldsmith asked Richard Griffin about a voicemail he received from the minister, urging him and Mr Thompson to correct the record.
Do you have the copy of the voice message with you? Could you play it to us now?
No, I won't, but I do.
So did you receive the implication that you shouldn't attend the select committee?
The implication was, as far as I was concerned, that it would be far more satisfactory to all concerned if we just put a letter on the table and left it at that.
Claire Curran, who's gone to Australia to attend the Commonwealth Games, denies any suggestion she tried to prevent RNZ reappearing today. When the hearing wrapped up, Melissa Lee asked RNZ to hand over communications, including the voicemail left on Mr Griffin's phone. She told reporters afterwards that's a formal request.
I'm presuming that RNZ would actually consider it quite an urgent matter, and they would be provided promptly. I'm guessing it's sometime next week.
RNZ says if it can recover the voicemail message from the minister to the chair of its board, it will release it to the Select Committee. From Parliament for Checkpoint, Jane Patterson.